TommyKay recently hosted another 1v1 King of the Hill event. The event works by the King of the Hill fighting against a challenger, and whoever wins becomes the next King of the Hill and takes home some money, this time 300 euros. There have been two events previous to this one. The first one between the two HOI4 players with the most tournament earnings, M7 and Knave, which Knave has won. Then in the second one, I managed to win and knocked Knave off of his throne, and now I am trying to defend the title against arguably the best remaining 1v1 player other than me, Silas. Since I was locked in during the games, I will just review the VODs of the individual games today and just share some of my thoughts on the games. So we will immediately, for the first game, skip ahead to war start. There's no reason to watch the entire build up. It's kind of boring. It's not that interesting for you guys. If you guys want a build tutorial, I can do it as well. Just write it into the comments. So on this map, there are 3 VPs: Köln, Frankfurt, and Amsterdam in the north, which you can't see right now. Now you can see. And in the top, there's a bar, where you can see who owns the 3 VPs, and whoever has 2 of them starts ticking down the enemy's points. It is really unlucky that I didn't get a single VP. Usually, in the game, it's supposed to be like this, that the allies have Köln secured pretty early on, because it's behind the river and the urban tile, and the Axis secure Frankfurt pretty early on. We both did a linear build this game, because it is buffed massively in the mod, especially on certain factions. But the thing is that what I didn't expect is with linear like the terrain modifiers on urban are terrific, and he did a build more heavily focused on infantry, so he has a stronger early game than me, while I have, in theory at least, I have a stronger late game. Yeah, but the problem is I couldn't click Köln because of that, like huge terrain negatives, and he just has a stronger early game build. So that was really cooked at this point. I really had to come up with something. The idea was that maybe I can take Amsterdam here, because it's pretty weak, as you can see, and he doesn't have the troops to cover the entire front line yet, and I want to take 1 VP early on, so I stop the bleed a bit. So we can go ahead forward a bit. As you can see here, I'm trying to make some maneuvers at Amsterdam, but it's still incredibly weak. Like, this is such an easy click. But I also have to watch out that I don't get killed on the main front line, right? Like, you can see in Köln there are 8 troops. Like, he's outnumbering me in the south as well. He has way more strength for his units than me. So if we skip forward a bit, he tried to do a push in the south here. He has a bunch of units in the south, again, because he just has a huge numerical superiority. I was able to take Amsterdam, but Silas is not sleeping. He knows that if he just gives me time at this point, I will be able to click Köln eventually and get the second VP, and then I just win because I have a better late game. So what he does is he moves his army south and tries to threaten my core territory here, right? Like, this is where all of my industry is, where all of my factories are, and he just wants to go for it as fast as he can. I, in the meanwhile, have to somehow prevent that, which is why you can see me moving some troops south, but I also have to take Köln early on, because Köln is not very easy to take, and I really wanted to stop the bleed. In retrospect, this was my biggest mistake here. Like, I should not have gone for Köln this early on. I should have tried to just stay defensive, maybe entrench behind the Amsterdam River and even give up some of the main front, and deal with the southern threat first. I didn't do that because I was greedy. It's a lot of stress during these situations. So what he does here is, obviously, he keeps stacking units in the south. He just keeps clicking me at Köln. Here I last ended Köln, which means I got completely strength deleted there, which is so terrible because I'm already down troops. Now I try to move north again because I immediately try to take Köln again, which again is a huge mistake. I should just chill out here. But he doesn't sleep. He's a pretty good player, right? So he goes for the south now. He has a huge numerical superiority here. Like, he doesn't quite manage to keep up with the micro because it's a lot of APM for him. But eventually he's going to see it and he's going to start pushing me himself. So what I have to do is I have to retreat right now and try to make some maneuvers. Yeah, I try to go for some encirclements, but it just doesn't work here. Right now I do some threats, but he sees it in time. And now if we can skip forward a bit, like you can see, I walk into Köln again. But again, this is stupid. He has way too many troops for this to actually work. It's just a meme. He clicks me out, and at this point, he finally realizes what his opportunity was for himself, so he goes for it. And I can't lose my core territory. That's all of my industry, all of my factories, all of my manpower as well, and I just can't afford to lose that when I'm already down so much equipment. And then I even got encircled into the north, which just adds up because I'm always playing without any orc there, right? Because I just keep on doing stupid clicks. So, long story short, we go forward a bit. He just pushes into my main territory. I can't really keep up on the main front. And then, shortly after, I will just FF, because there's no reason to keep on playing here. It's 50 points. The loss was incoming. I had no manpower, very little factories. So it was just, in retrospect on this map, I think I just played way too aggressively. Should have played pretty defensively, tried to hold on, and maybe tried to grab 1 VP in Amsterdam. But I didn't manage to do that, so that's the story of the first game, basically. Okay, so now we are in the second game. It's really important that you don't get demotivated by the first game. As said, this is a best of 7, so the first with 4 wins here, but in all of the other games, what always happened is Knave in the first game of Fail, 4-1 to F7, I 4-2 Knave, and now I'm playing against Silas. And it's really important that you don't let your own enemy just snowball on you. Like, if you let your first loss demotivate you, you're in a really tough situation. So this game, I was really desperate for a win. And I was seeing that the builds I just cooked up myself, like the Heron build, the Lightning Fury build I did a second ago, didn't work. So this time I returned with a classic build, a build with which I'm more confident. It's a Britain build. A UK with just normal 18 with infantry, like high quality, flame tanks, rocket arty, and everything in it. And we were just trying to go for like a pretty normal game here. So the VPs here are Lucknow, Patna, and Nagpur. And I took 2 pretty early on, which is really important on this map because like terrain, supply is horrible. There are also a bunch of rivers, so it's really hard to push here. But that is not going to stop me. I'm even with 2 VPs up. Right now, I know that Silas has a great late game. He knows how to play this. He's going in a faction that will probably get greener. So it's going to be really risky. Also, by the way, watch this. This is a clear encirclement opportunity for him here. If he actually makes use of that, that would be super cool for me. As you can see, he sees it, but I can force attack them in the last second. I get them in, but they get memed out despite the force attack, which is terrible. That should never happen. But luckily, I react fast, managed to force retreat everything out, and then we were fine. Now, this situation, the given situation is kind of fine. I just can't get memed, but I also don't want to let Silas scale into the late game. Like, if he has green air, or he will get green air, so if he waits long enough, he will have really strong divisions, so I need to put up pressure somehow. So what I try is I just keep trying to click the plane tiles at around partner. You can learn from this yourself as well. Like whenever you want to push, you know, try to choose terrain where you can push with relatively low losses. But here I see I have good supply at partner. There are plane tiles that are easily clickable. And he has to defend it because if he loses partner, that's his last VP gone and his chances are gone. Also, by the way, I react. I see that I'm going to get red air because he has way more on air than me. So I just delete my airline and start going for A. Here, right here, we just try to keep up the pressure. I just keep clicking, but the clicks are not going that well. But it doesn't matter. I really have to keep it up here because if he scales into late game, I'm just completely cooked. So we can go forward a bit. Yeah, as you can see, now we are successfully pushing, and I'm actually going to start clicking partner. This is, yeah, there was a funny double combat on the defender. Don't know how that happened. And as you can see, we're winning the battle here now. This, for him, is an incredibly stressful situation because he can't lose it. So he has to divest troops from the south, but instead he just tries to push me in the south from the supply hub in order to kill my supply and partner. I realized this, I force attacked my supply hub there, and I try to click it again. Again, this is just an incredibly difficult situation. I have partners surrounded from so many sides, but he reacts, he retakes the plane tile. But I'm obviously not going to give up, and we will keep clicking there and keep trying. And as you can see, here we finally took it after some time because he just can't reinforce it. And now I'm going to keep trying to go for plane tiles here. And because if we make it to like the center railway here, like this supply hub and this railway here, his entire frontline supply just dies. So he has to stop that in time. There's a small mismarked red partner. I shouldn't have left with so many units, but I immediately force attack, so that's fine. And we just keep trying to go for the center. At this point, it's pretty obvious for him that he was cooked. Like he had a big encirclement here as well, in which I killed a bunch of his units. It's pretty much not recoverable from here, so we can just skip forward a bit. And then, yeah, I mean here at around the end you can see he's going to make some desperate attempts to push Nagpur, but it's just over. He doesn't have IC. I'm still holding at the center VP, which is a very dangerous hold here. Like I could easily get encircled, but it doesn't matter since the time here is it's like 10 days left. And I think in retrospect, what went wrong for Silas is here that he let me play too offensively. I think he needed to entrench on a better defensive line, and this way we got another victory, and I immediately broke the losing streak, so we had a game. And yeah, with that we can immediately go ahead to the next one. So now we go over to the third game, and this time it's Stalingrad. We have 5 different VPs here. First 5 VP map, we have Vorozhnev, Tambov, Mikhailovka, Stalingrad, and there's another one, how's it called? Mikhailaikov or something like, I don't know, I'm not Russian. But anyways, There are two VPs which pretty much belong to one side, like the two VPs here in the north belong to allies, and the two VPs in the south belong to Axis. And the toss-up VP is pretty much Stalingrad, so I did motorized to take Stalingrad as early as possible, and I immediately railroaded in some troops. And meanwhile, I just tried to get into the main front a bit. Again, we were able to do a classic build here. We were able to do Britain. He didn't ban it. He was too afraid of a mass smoke faction. I could too. So that put me in a huge advantage already. I was really confident. Because you saw how Britain went last game. We got all of our VPs that belong to us. He got his two VPs, and we took Stalingrad. So now I did kind of micro mess up here in Stalingrad. I left it open for a second. But other than that, my defenses are able to pretty much hold on immediately. So that is pretty good. And now we are just going to go ahead and click him a bit. And here, as you can see, I'm trying to stay active, do some encirclements. And the south, yeah, I just have to try to clear up the things there. But as you can see, he's also active. He doesn't fall for the obvious traps. Here was Tambov open, which is a bit of a trap for me. Like, I could have lost that there. But it's fine because it's all for micro maneuvers. As you can see here, we just keep trying to make maneuvers. Like, maybe we can get a breakthrough somewhere. And even north, it was looking pretty good. Here, the goal is obviously for me to get the supply hub in Litebsk. And in south of Voronezh, there's another supply hub right here. And if I get that supply hub and the Vitebsk supply hub, I pretty much own the north. Like, all of the supply is just uncontested for me. He can't really do much against that. But, well, until then, it's a long time, right? But we start approaching it. So let's skip forward a bit. Nothing happens too much here. Here, we got one encirclement, 5 units. Again, I just try to keep clicking battles all over the front, right? Just to keep up some pressure on him, because I know I have better micro than him. I can out-micro him. I can force some encirclements if I do it correctly. Here, he last in that in time, and he's going to try to free it, but I don't think he can do it. Then I also try to go over the deep south, because I think I have a bit of a numerical superiority at this point. So it's a waste not to try that. Yeah, bam, we can go ahead again. And here, I'm about to take his VP, which is super dangerous for him. He has to stop it immediately. And we approach the Litebsk supply up and the VP there in the north. This is not a good situation for him, but it's not over yet. He has to stay calm here. But anyways, the click on Litebsk is not looking that well, but the click on Milarevo, or however that is called, is looking pretty well. And in general, his units in the south are way weaker than ours are. So from here, we can go ahead a bit. I think nothing happened for a second. Here we took Vitebsk, but I wasn't scrolled in on that. And as you can see, we have a big numerical superiority at this point. Like, he's really cooked. I just have to keep clicking. And as I noticed that myself, I tried to go to the front, and I tried to upgrade railways here because, you know, I needed the supply in center. I noticed it because otherwise I just can't put up pressure on him without any supply. So let's go forward a bit. And here he tries to just meme me in the south, but I obviously respond to that in time. Like, I am not sleeping. Here, I'm not sure if I got that counter encirclement. We'll have to see. Yeah, I did get that counter encirclement, which is pretty nice, and he manages to free it though. But again, the situation is really good for me, and here I just try to keep creating pressure on myself as well. Okay, that is a nice little double combat there. I don't know how that happened. But here we try to retreat as fast as possible. But he keeps that pressure, you know. He's not out of the game yet. And he even gets an encirclement on me there. So I have to be careful. But I really want to take Voronezh there. But it's not that easy. And there I see 3 divisions just standing around, like without proper defenses. So I think that I'm going to try to snap them here. Yeah. Although the micro here is a little bit sleepy. I should be moving in right now. But I'm trying to make sure that my macro is right. It's kind of stressful. Like, it's not as slow as it might look. Either way, I took the last 12 here, and now we get an encirclement penalty on him and just quickly kill his units. He tries to click out of Voronezh. This is an important mistake, by the way, because if you try to click out of a tile, you lose your entrenchment on the tile. So right now, I immediately tried to counter-click Voronezh, but turns out the urban tile is still strong enough to hold on. So I just had to retreat out of there. Don't want to get encircled. But I also can't losing Vitebsk, so I immediately go force attack that. Okay, now you can see I'm trying to make some moves here in the center, like get an encirclement, a backhand blow, and in the south as well. I'm just gonna try to snap a bunch of encirclements. He's really aggressive right now because he's running out of life points slowly, as you can see here. So he has to make something happen, which will backfire though. I'm again clicking Voronezh at this point, and I took the 4th VP in the south. Milarevo, like his defenses here were just too weak. We got an encirclement in the north, and right now it's looking pretty cooked for him. Another encirclement. So at this point, it should be pretty obvious that we are winning this. or at least it's looking pretty good for us, so we can skip ahead a bit. There was some more back and forth movements, right? But like, look at his health points here. It's 18 health points. We managed to pull off a huge encirclement here to basically finish him. And with that, the third game is also over. If this one was pretty dominant, there was like we were never really in a big issue, just like the second one. My UK is really strong. He needs to ban it, and he is gonna ban it in the next 1v1. So yeah, GG, and let's go over to the next one. Okay. So now we are at the fourth game, I believe, right? Yeah, and this time I have to start a bit early because I really have to explain the macro here, because what happened here is big. So I knew that Silas had a secret build. It got leaked to me over the streamers. They were talking about a secret allied build, and in the practice earlier I also heard he had a secret build, but I had no idea what his build is. So during the build-up, I was checking his country over and over again, and I saw that he was building heavily, going heavy on tanks. So I went for Finland right side, which is a faction that snipes tanks pretty badly in this mod. You get enough piercing to basically always pierce your enemy. Not in this game though, because Silas was doing a very interesting and very new build where Soviets do heavy tanks that the infantry can't pierce. Unless they have 82, which luckily I was going for, which was a total coincidence. I didn't get enough 82 though for all of my units, but I was still gonna try. And against tank builds, what has to be explained is what matters really, really badly is the early game. You have to kill tank builds early on, or at least get them in a position where they can't come back early on. Because if tank builds are allowed to scale for a few months, they roll over any inf build. So you really need to stop that as soon as you can. And we are going to do that here, or at least we're going to try that here. I'm going to move up. The micro is a little bit sleepy. And as you can see, Silas, this is typical tank build behavior. He takes these two tiles so he can push, so that he doesn't get stuck behind the river and he can build up in peace. So for me, it's really important that I go ahead and quickly take these forest tiles as soon as I can before he scales. But problem is we don't have supply yet, and this is a big mistake by the way for me. I'm not snacking the white tiles like in time. I should probably just battle plan on this map, honestly, not micro. That was a mistake. Usually micro has the advantage though that you can control your units better, but in this scenario I was a bit stressed, and I was really focused on the front line. I tried to break this early on. So as you can see, we are trying to click those divisions. I'm going to cycle them. What that means is I'm going to keep clicking them repeatedly, because every time you click, the units can't regain orc. And if you do that, they will eventually run out of orc. Actually, we didn't start the cycling yet, but it's going to start in a second. Yeah, bum bum. Yeah, let's go. And now our supply is kind of fixed, so the situation is looking much better. But I also kind of need planning, so I'm trying to get that on some of my units. But the clicks were not looking good. This was looking really grim. I knew that I was on a timer. I really had to hurry up. But his eastern tile was not that strong here. And I could attack it from a lot of sides, so that's what I'm going to do here. What I was going to try. I would also try to click Riga, which is a very bad idea. Good thing is Finland has a snow bonus on this map. And as you can see, pretty much every tile has snow, which gives a huge attack penalty. So we were able to get rid of that. Yeah, I was not winning the battle, but I just kept cycling, kept using troops, made sure that he can't regain orc. Same thing I was going to try in the north. And now we try to cross the river. If I cross this river, it is looking really grim for him. And I did cross this river because of kind of sleepy micro from him. Because now that I control this river, I can basically walk into his home territory, right? Like up there. Which I'm really not supposed to be doing. That is where 90% of tank builds die. However, he reacts fast. He is a pretty good player. He's one of the best players in the world. If not the best player, other than me, obviously. In 1v1s at least. And here we just keep trying to apply pressure to him all over the front. And he reacts fast though, and at this point it's March. At this point he already is strong enough that he can fight against me. Give it 2-3 more months and he would just be able to obliterate me at the front. So I really needed to make some impact happen. Most important thing is that I take this tile right here, because this is a river tile, and if I have this, then I can consolidate behind the river, like river, snow, forest tiles, with so many negative penalties that there's a good chance that I can hold on against the tank build. Either way, he was trying to click me. I was trying to get this supply up, because the supply is what kept me from pushing further into the north. And as we can scroll a bit forward, I'm not able to take the supply up, and we just get entrenched behind the river here. I managed to take the center forest tile, so I own everything. Now with GBP, I just stack entrenchment, and we were just gonna wait. So now we can go scroll forward a bit here. He just tries to repeatedly click me, which is dangerous. His tank build is super strong. I can't pierce it, despite me having 82. I've made a separate template. Like the castle units here are the ones with 82. The normal gun units are the ones without 82. But even my 82 units couldn't pierce him. So now we can scroll forward a bit, and we can see his health points are just rapidly deteriorating. He didn't get a single one early on, right? So it was looking kind of good for me. Either way, he kept trying to push me, and it was not looking good. At this point, I was pretty confident that I won. But, yeah, right, I shouldn't skip to the end there. Here you guys can see, I want you to understand the full power of this, because, well, this might look pretty dominant and easy. He's gonna break this tile in a second, and despite there no points being like basically no points left, so I basically had a guaranteed victory at this point. I want you to see what this build can do, right? Like, he made one breakthrough here. I can't pierce him. I can't click him back. I can't do shit to his tanks. And now he just keeps rushing through. He snakes in tanks, and he's trying to get VPs, like this VP and this VP. He would have only needed 3 VPs when the bleed would have stopped, and he could have won. So if this happened 20 days earlier, I would have been cooked. But this way, we're fine. We are up 3-1 at this point. So now we are going into the match ball match for me. And if I win the next one, we actually win the game. Okay, so the next game, which is again my match ball game, is going to be on the Balkan powder cake map. This map often gets overlooked in practice, and it also got overlooked in my practice. I basically never practiced this map. And so it was going to be really interesting to see. It should play pretty much like a mix out of Rhine and Stalingrad. Supply is really important here, but it's also a pretty big map. And the terrain is also pretty bad. As you can see, we did motorized. You immediately take this VP here. It's 5 VPs again. This VP, Sarajevo, Belgrade, and then there's one in Budapest and one in Romania in the north. Yeah, so we took Belgrade as well, which was putting it as a good position. We were taking the last VP here. Again, this was pretty badly microed early on. At this point, I was already kind of exhausted. We played, I believe, like 3 or 4 hours. I think it was like 4 hours at this point already. But yeah, so the main front, as you can see, we're just clicking each other a bit, and I'm already gonna spoiler, this is gonna be one of my, a game which I threw pretty badly. Like, this was looking really good early on, but later on, it was looking kind of tough. Anyways, so as you can see, nothing is really happening here for now. We're just snaking the empty territory, and he took back the Dubrovnik VP, which is pretty bad. I'm bleeding now, so I have to start making attacks. We did pretty similar builds. I did a GBP build. He did an SFP build. He was lagging a bit here, so I was paused for a second there. And we can go forward a bit. Nothing's going to happen for the next bit of time. Here, I did an encirclement. Okay, now we're slowly getting into the time, because this game is, you're going to see this again and again. I'm going to keep encircling him, and he keeps refusing to die somehow, which is insane. Here, he got also an encirclement on me, and he was trying to do an attack himself. This was really dangerous here, like, especially in retrospect. Like, I didn't spend enough attention to this, like, but we did get him encircled here. I did even manage to break those out, managed to go into that VP, but nonetheless, it's looking scary. And now he's going for like a push at around Belgrade here. Like, I have to make sure that it doesn't get encircled. It's already pretty much surrounded, so it's looking kind of risky. Otherwise, the north also looks pretty unstable. I'm floating focus, research. I have some units standing in the back, which I have to use. It's pretty stressful macro. But yeah, as you can see, we are trying to push. I cracked a Cypher here, which is a bit of an odd time to crack Cypher in retrospect, but at the time I didn't know the game was going to be going on for much longer, but it will go on for much, much longer. This was one of the longest games I've ever played at CSC. But the casualties were looking pretty good for me, and him having all 5 VPs though at this point is very stressful, especially in the tournament situation. I was not thinking that I had much of a chance here, to be honest. Like, his build was doing surprisingly well early on. But yeah, we are gonna keep trying. So what I need to do here is I need to pull some encirclements. I don't have enough A either, like I'm in a big A deficit, so his cast keeps destroying me. But yeah, what I will be trying here is I'll try to go for some encirclements at Belgrade. Here he snakes in pretty aggressively, so I can punish that, but I actually didn't punish that. Okay, that's kind of odd in retrospect. But here I'm trying to go for an encirclement at this point, right? Like, this is really dangerous for him. He's kind of microing the south. And we are taking Belgrade. We're trying to do Sarajevo, like just encirclement. And here we got 5 units encircled. This is huge. 5 units in this mode. Like, as you can see, I have 15 units, so what would be about a 10th of my army. We got him encircled here. He last stands the time. Like, Silas is actually, you know, for all of the micro faults he has, his last stand micro was pretty much on top. And in general, his micro this game was, I mean, it was pretty flawed. Like, he got encircled pretty often, but it was like he gave me a good match. Here, I got encircled. I didn't even last stand immediately. But the south is looking really, really weak there, so I'm able to do some pushes there, I think. And here again, I will try to go for a radar encirclement. Here, I think his mistake, personally, I think, is that he went in too aggressively. He doesn't have to be holding a radar here. Like, he could have just chilled at Budapest and put more troops into the south, and he probably would have been able to not get encircled as much. Because whenever you hold a VP, right, you are putting more units there than like your usual state. So the person that holds VPs usually has weaker defenses, which kind of balances it out. Here, because, you know, like, the enemy will try to take the VPs, but if not, the enemy can just push at other points of the front and create pressure somehow. And that was what I was trying to do here. We again hold 2 VPs, right? We hold Belgrade and the northern VP, and Sarajevo is about to fall. So at this point, it was actually looking pretty well. I was pretty confident that I was going to win it at this point, you know, which is ironic because it was looking so close a second ago. Another 2 units encircled here. But yeah, we just had that one big encirclement, and now we had a few other encirclements, which just gave me the unit edge by like quite a lot. Like there's no way he should have been able to come back from this. Like if I played this correctly, I think at this point it should have been over. But he's trying to go for a radar again. But here there's an opening, 5 units that could be encircled. I was watching this. This incredibly important. Again, 5 units are huge. And here another 3 units of him get encircled. Like it just keeps adding up, you know. Like now that I watch this, it is honestly insane. Like another encirclement, this encirclement, that encirclement. He should not be winning this. He should be so dead. I don't even know. Did we kill this? Yeah, we did kill this. And then here another encirclement, but I think he frees this one. Like this one, you know, sometimes you can just see, like sometimes encirclements are just too large for you to hold them. Here I got 3 units encircled again, which is because I'm going in too aggressively at this point. I thought the game was already pretty much won for me. He's trying to do some offensive maneuvers there. He might capture my railway gun, which I have to prevent. And the north in general is looking hella scary right now, but I can't give it up because I need that 3rd VP there. And the south is kind of difficult to push if it's too stacked because it's all mountain tiled. Here I force attack in time to make sure that I don't get me into the tile. We encircle him. Overall, I think that my micro here is kind of fine, like speed-wise. It's not looking that bad. Here we are able to take Oreda again, because it's pretty weakly defended. Also important thing to watch out for you guys' games. If you are in a bad situation and you force attack units that are, or like last in them for that, that are like 1 unit on a tile that gets surrounded by like 5 units, you know, and when you last stand, it gets strength deleted so fast that you may as well not last stand that. I think Steelers did that mistake multiple times here. Here another 2 units die, by the way, which is great. Yeah, and you should really avoid that. Like you should not last stand if it means you will lose all of those units. Unless obviously you do it to protect a valuable target or like get time. Here again, he's just going in a bit too aggressive, but so do I at this point. I mean, we both marked for 4 hours without pause at this point, so it's kind of understandable. Here Sarajevo is in danger. We are making more encirclements here. And I think at this point, now that I watch it, I should be moving my troops south, right? The radar is secured. But I think what I will be trying to do is I will go for like a northern encirclement. I will try to push Budapest and try to make it to Vienna from there to like cap him. Yeah, which is a pretty bold idea. But here we have now 4 units encircled. Again, like I have 50 units, you know. Like just think of all of the encirclements that we did at this point. Like 5 units is a 10th of my army. This is just huge. Yeah, as you could see, the casualties are pretty ridiculous and pretty insane. And we just keep trying to go for a northern maneuver there, which I think will backfire. As you can see, Belgrade is open, and in general, my southern flank is so weakly defended. If I were Silas here, I think what I would do is I would stop counterattacking too much in the north, and I would try to defend in the north, and then just move a lot of units south, try to cut me off here. But I got another encirclement here. It just keeps adding up. It is really ridiculous. But yeah, we will keep trying to go for the northern maneuver here. And I think I can skip ahead here for a second. Nothing should have happened here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, here we are going for another encirclement again, and it works again. You know, Silas is pretty exhausted, I think, from micro as well here. And from the macro as well. Like, you guys, it might not look that much, like that much right here, you know, but doing focuses all the time, doing, like, research all the time, PP clicks, like, army XP clicks, doing agency, everything for one person while microing, like, 60 units at the same time. Right, that is more than Germany micros at the entire Barb front. Like, in vanilla Germany, the Barb front has, like, 40, 50 tanks, I think. Yeah. Again, he takes Belgrade, and this encirclement, by the way, this is huge for me. Like, and this as well. Like, here you can see, you know, I was too cocky at this point. I thought I encircled so much, there's no way I lose this, but I just throw away so many units here, like five units there, which doesn't compare to how much he lost, right? But since I'm the attacker, and the attacker usually also loses more units and equipment all the time, it kind of means that even though he just does like way less encirclements than me, they're still pretty bad. Here, I tried to free it, but I'm not even sure if I lose these 6 units. Like, these 6 units are huge, but I think I can free them here. Yeah, looks like it. But still, like, risky maneuvers up there in the north. And the VPs keep taking down for him this time. So it's actually looking pretty equal. Now, if I take Budapest, after Budapest, I could just secure along the river here, in retrospect, like this river here, actually like this, you see? I could have just went ahead and held there, and didn't have to keep going for the south. But you don't see that while in-game, right? So he tries to click this VP again. This VP, while surrounded by mountain tiles, is actually a hill tile, not a mountain tile in the complete south. So you can actually click this VP pretty well, which is why it's pretty hard to hold that one. Here I try to keep going for maneuvers in the north. Actually, I will encircle his light tank there. I'm pretty sure that I did encircle that one. Or did I? Yeah, this VP gets emptied again. Like, this VP, I should just give up on this VP. I didn't see it during the game, but I shouldn't have tried to hold that one. As you can see here, I have a big numerical superiority. I think it was 100k men or 150k men or something, which for like 400k men overall is a huge advantage. I should be rolling over this, but he has complete green air, a lot of gas. Well, I don't even fill out my units with anti-air, and so I think that makes it a lot more equal. Anyways, nothing's gonna happen for a bit, I believe here. Yeah, we can go forward a bit. Here, Budapest. And here I tried to snake for Vienna, went for a big northern maneuver, as I announced earlier. Like, that was the plan here. Like, I just go in through the north, try to get into his course here, like through this pathway, basically. We made some more encirclements in the south. Again, I'm really lucky that Silas, like, the micro for my enemy here was really weak, so that is the only reason this game is still going on, and especially looking so good for me. Here again, he tries to go for an offensive maneuver, but this time I'm not gonna fall for the trap. All of my spies get pushed out of Vienna, by the way, because I took it, which means less intel advantage. We take Sarajevo again, make another encirclement here. And, you know, this situation again looks really well for me, but it's actually not gonna be that well in the rear game, as you can probably see in a second. This was not over yet. Okay, so here we try to make some pushes again. I'm gonna try to go into Budapest. And this encirclement is just huge. Like, if this encirclement would have died here, or if it will die, it would be super cooked. Like, at this point, this many units would have meant that it's GG for me, and I didn't reinforce this time in tile. So it was looking super close. I didn't have, I actually had the command power to force attack this. I guess I didn't see that during the game. I should have immediately force attacked that. But we actually managed to free it, obviously. Fast reaction time. I still lost 4 troops at this point, which I was also able to free, which is really good. But at this point, like, I think I realized that, like, the things I'm doing in the south, these shenanigans are not working. Like, I need to, or like the northern shenanigans are not working. I just need to have weak northern defensives so I can focus on the south. And I did that here. I only had like 8 units in the north, which is nothing. But he also didn't have much in the north. So right now we are just walking through the south. I got another encirclement in Belgrade. Another encirclement, dude. I should add an encirclement counter. I hope I remember in editing. Okay, here he's gonna try to click Budapest again. But it is not looking good. But he's also able to free Belgrade, maybe. Either way, so right now what the important part is in this mod, I'm gonna skip forward again a bit, is that in a second, you know, because both sides immediately at war go into no garrison, because this is a very low IC mod, so you can't afford to garrison. You want to save yourself the guns. But that means that in about January, in 1 or 2 months, we will reach 90% resistance on the front line, which means that every tile has permanent 30-40% attrition, right? I put my spies here on anti-resistance in order to combat that somehow. But once it reaches like 90% attrition, you have 90% resistance, you have 30% attrition permanently on all tiles, which means your equipment stockpile is gonna decimate so fast. Also, you will not be able to strategically railway units, which I'm gonna use in a second for a really strong trick. But yeah, as you can see, it's looking pretty well for me though. I have 3 VPs, he has 2 VPs, and for the first time, I actually just chill, right? Like, I actually have a good line here, which I can hold. At this point, I feel good, but he's obviously not going to stop. He still has units that are good enough to push me. He's going to go for a Belgrade push. I'm gonna hold at Belgrade, but as you can see, I can't railway, so you can't really move around troops between fronts. Like, it's incredibly slow. It's gonna be less than 4 kmh, like 1 kmh. So you actually take like weeks or months even to redeploy from the north to the south, you know, which is pretty fucking terrible. Yeah, but we have his sci-fi decrypted here. But the good thing is, what I'm gonna do here in a second is, if your enemy can't railway, right? Like, you have to think about this yourself. What would you do? What is incredibly strong on this map is that it's pretty wide, right? Like, if you look at the Axis core territory, it's up there in Austria, and we are in the south of Yugoslavia, basically. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the fact that he basically can't redeploy, and I'm gonna spam out a bunch of 8 with cavalry, which is the minimum width in this mod. And I'm gonna just immediately naval invade his core territory, because he will not be able to move there, and he has to deal with that 8 with cav. But it's gonna be basically impossible for him, because he can't move his frontline troops. You can see he's out of guns, so he's not gonna have much in his mainland to garrison strategically. So we can see how that goes. Also, this is gonna be really important in a second here. I deployed them. I just immediately plan of a naval invasion. This is not that fast, yeah. Yeah, if you watch my tricks and drips video, like you see, I just right-click those after planning of a naval invasion, and they equally assign. He's gonna try to click Budapest again, but I obviously stay awake with my counterclicks. The more dangerous push other than Budapest is actually the Belgrade push. Like, the Belgrade push, I think, even succeeds here for a while. And we also can't railway our cavalry to the south, so it again takes an eternity until we're there. Yeah, the late game of this mod is pretty cooked. But here, as you can see now, we are clicking Belgrade. And he's last in Belgrade. And look at his strength in Belgrade. Look at this. Like, the orange bars. It's just getting completely deleted. He lost 5 units there. I think 5, yeah. He's gonna try to counterclick us, but this is just ridiculous, like the strength he's losing, because I still have the guns and manpower to recover. He went out of guns because he went for gun 2. I just stick to gun 1. So he just had way less gun overall. He couldn't fill out combat with even in the end. And yeah, as you can see, my naval invasion is going here. At this point, it's really good for him. 48 points. He has to redeploy, but he can't strategically redeploy. So I'm just gonna snake his entire territory. And even though I won't be able to cap him, since he has a garrison in his actual capital, and I already have 8 with cav, I will be able to do big damage to him. So right here, we are able to just move his cav around way faster than he can move his infantry. I will try to go for a mainland offensive. And then we can scroll ahead a bit and just see. Yeah, here you already saw, it's probably over in a second here. We just rush through. There's our cavalry going from the back. At this point, it's over for him. The points are taking out, and this is how we won. And this is how I am the first person to defend the King of the Hill title for 2 consecutive games. And next month, there's going to be another game against the modder of this mod, actually, whom I've never beaten in a tournament. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you all for watching, and have a good day.